So a few of you, many of you even, saw my video the other day where I said that 4680 batteries will eventually be free, not even long from now. And a few of you thought I was, well, as usual, off my rocker. So I thought I'd bring in an expert. And then I couldn't find one. So Brian said he'd come on.
Love it. Love it. That is
Brian White,
a great, great intro from a great channel. And I'm honored to be both brought up in such a glowing light and I'm also here. Of all the channels that I've ever been on, this is definitely one of them.
One of those, one of the ones, one of the very of them. Yeah.
Yes, it made a list.
Brian, people should follow you at My Tesla Weekend. Up and down, where you are at different places. It's almost like Elmo or whatever his name. What was his name? The guy that you had to find him on the puzzle.
Waldo.
Waldo. That was it. Waldo. Where's
Wally?
So, have you new plans other than apparently eventually going to pick up your new Model Y?
Do I have other plans? Boy, this is a busy week. We've got the earnings coming out. We've got hopefully some news on a variety of products, including Highland is already looks like it's getting road testing by Motor Trend. We've got some hopefully Cybertruck news. The Run on Less event with the Tesla Semi was last week. That went fantastic. So we're doing good.
Well, you know what? You've just caused me to take a slight detour in my plan here. And what you're talking about, Model 3s are being tested by who?
Motor Trend.
Oh, they're still a magazine?
Well, they're a website.
They're a website. Anyway, so I missed that news. I must have been asleep at the switch.
Fresh this morning. They said they like it. It's a little quieter. It's a little more comfortable. It's largely the same car. It fixed an awful lot of things they didn't like, and it still feels like a top-end car. It's got a lot better thunk in the door than a Toyota Camry. But they did say that it makes them jiggle less going over potholes, which is a very weird thing to say. And they also said that, and the shocks are less likely to bottom out. And I'm like, bottom out? What are you? Oh, right. The jiggle. Got it.
Well, okay. Now that helps to segue into where I really actually wanted to go. So we've got the Model 3 Plus apparently being, arriving in various ports in Europe and maybe in, I don't know, various different export locations. We've got it maybe being released from jail in China any day now, and they'll be able to ship them all over China. But in the meantime, we're dropping the lease rate dramatically to a crazy lease rate, great lease rate. I mean, I can't imagine what else is out there right now for, what is it, $259 a month or something?
I've seen 300, but I guess it depends on which model and trim. But I want to say under 300.
Yeah, I think it's 259 on the basic one. And then they lowered the price at the beginning of the month to everybody's chagrin. But then I reported that the battery prices, according not to me, but to CATL and to NG, I'm blowing that.
LG
and to LG, battery prices are down 33% year to date. I did a little quick math, and that would be $2,000 off the cost of the battery alone since the beginning of the year. So maybe these are affordable discounts on the cars going forward.
So absolutely. If you look at, one of the leases that I had looked at, because, as you know, I've been weighing my options lately. It was something like $300 a month for 3 years, $5,000 down. So that's, 10 grand plus the 15 plus the other five. So 15,000 is your 15 to 17,000 was the total cost of ownership that I was looking at for 3 years. So if you subtract that from what Tesla's actual cost is, they've still got, are they going to be able to sell that car for more than 25,000 in 3 years? Absolutely. Yes. Right. And that only included 10,000 miles a year. A year. Oh, Tesla drivers enjoy driving. That's
Yeah.
something that 10,000 a year may come back to disappoint buyers or lessees, I suppose. So it would be, it's still a great, if somebody looks at that and says, this is the car for me, boom, it's affordable. Anything under 300, you're going to get a huge addressable market. 5,000 down, not unreasonable, especially if you're trading something in. You can probably get that from your trade alone. So yeah, just roll in now, $300 a month, you got a Tesla. And for them, for Tesla, they get a car back in 3 years that they can sell for substantially more than the $20,000 of cost basis remaining.
So we've got that situation sitting in front of us right now that apparently nobody on the street, and I think maybe even a lot of Tesla bulls and enthusiasts, have not taken into consideration that a 33% discount in the cost of the batteries right now from LG and from CATL is meaning $2,000 of cost per vehicle. But now in the meantime, we're starting to make our own batteries. And not only are we making 4680s, but we're also going to refine our own lithium, and we're going to build our own cathodes, and all of that's going to happen in this great state of Texas. And so I was starting to think about what might the cost of the battery be in March. What would the 4680 landed on the floor in a pack, ready to go in the car? What would that cost in March after the cathode factory's working, the refinery's working, and they have ramped up, according to Brian Wong, they will be fully ramped up on the first line by around March. So didn't they say that they were going to be around $55 a kilowatt hour after the full ramp?
So I don't remember what they had given as price guidance, but whatever number it was an older number. Yes. So that was some time ago. So what we're looking at is there's a huge disconnect between the cell cost and the pack cost, because assembling the pack costs money. So you're looking at a lot of variables here. If you're saying March when it's fully ramped, is the 4680 today cheaper than the 2170? I'm inclined to say probably not yet. There's a lot of manufacturing inefficiencies they need to iron out, but you're not talking about today. You're talking about next Q1, maybe next Q2, when things are really chugging along. We've seen the battery line go from making its first, million to making its first 10 and now 20 million. The line is moving. It's getting to the point where you can actually afford to put them in your Cybertruck. So how much savings are we going to get from the cathode, from making their own cathodes? Unknown. How do they amortize the cost of that building and all that equipment? Early on, the price may look artificially high because of the beginning of depreciation on all those assets. So it's tough to say. But how cheap is it going to get? And also, in terms of refining their own lithium, and the Corpus Christi lithium refinery is moving along so quick. It is apparently ahead of schedule. What will those actual cost savings be? This is a new method of lithium extraction that apparently is unique to Tesla. Maybe it's one that works out great, like a lot of things we've seen Tesla do, but maybe it's a dog, like when they tried to over-automate the Model 3 production and found that it just did not work out on paper as well in real life as it did on paper. So how low will the batteries get? I think it's very reasonable to believe that the in-house batteries will be 30% cheaper than the competition. And one reason is if they were just doing exactly what the competition did, you could knock 10% off right there for the middleman markup. The fact that they're doing it on site, you could knock a huge chunk of the shipping costs down so that they wouldn't have to go somewhere to China or Nevada and then be brought to Texas. So you're right there, you've got 10, 20% savings off the bat. So getting them 30% cheaper than the competition is very realistic. That's not pie in the sky. That's just a very safe assumption. And then I feel like there's a second advantage to making batteries in the US. Help me out, Randy, for I have simply forgotten.
It sounds like IRA.
You are that's correct, Randy. Yes, not only is it your individual retirement account and your Irish Republican Army, it's also the Inflation Reduction Act,
So named.
which
So
which
cleverly named.
which is going to blow up in a slightly different way than the traditional IRA. But do you remember how much they're paying U.S. producers to make batteries in the U.S.?
So that's $35 a kilowatt hour.
$35 a kilowatt hour, Randy. That's so much. What is the cost? What is the cost a year or two ago? Weren't we already down to 100?
I think we were. I've been trying to do the numbers a little bit. I haven't gone in and looked up, a bunch of articles and stuff, but it seemed to me that CATL might have been kind of, their list price might have been around 110. You got to figure that Tesla's paying under list. So let's just for fun call it the same as you. Let's call it $100. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we take 33% off of that, which is what, we heard from the CEO of the energy division of LG the other day, take 33, that's $66. Now let's say that Tesla can make it for $66 today, or in a week or a month,
Sure.
or something like that. But that you're right, and we get another 30% off of that, that would be $20. Now we'd be down to $46.
Mm-hmm.
Take
Now,
away.
all we need to do is subtract that generous $35, and we're at $11 a kilowatt hour for batteries.
A tenth.
$11. So if you're putting 100 kilowatt hours in your new Model S or X,
it's $1,000.
That's $1,000 battery. The Cybertruck battery, now mind you, the S and X don't qualify; those are
Right.
18650s. But the 4680s going into the Cybertruck, if you're talking a 120 kilowatt hour pack, which is likely $1,300, what are we doing here?
As opposed to 11,000. That's the point.
Right.
It would have been 11,000, or maybe let's call it 10,000. It would have been 10,000. Now it's going to be 1,100. That's $9,000 per vehicle. That's I don't know. It starts to add up. Oh no, it's
Pretty soon you're talking real money.
Yes. So anyway, I don't hear. Have you heard anybody talking about this except me? Huh?
Oh, well, I'll be honest. I don't listen to anyone except you, Randy.
I knew that. What's wrong with me?
So we know lithium prices have already fallen precipitously. We know that the next generation 4680 has a thinner can wall, which is likely not harder to make, but reduces the number of atoms you're using, the amount of steel you're using. And then that's going to reduce the weight. All you need is to find $11 more out of that original 100, and you're there. You're at free battery.
Free batteries. Yeah. And let's be straight up. I don't think lithium will stay at these crazy low levels. There's going to come a time, I think it's not in 6 months. I don't think it's in a year, but there's going to come a time when lithium is going to get a little short supplied again. But I know that they're also working on alternatives to lithium, which could create even less expensive batteries that would work certainly in Model 3s and some of the Model Ys with different chemistries, which might get us back to that $0 amount again.
Well, lithium there's only 46 kilograms of lithium in a battery in an entire car. So even if lithium goes up significantly, it's not going to be significant compared to the cost of the entire battery pack. And I don't think lithium is set to spike because demand has not diminished. Electric cars are still accelerating. Adoption is still improving globally. What's really improved is the thing is you can get lithium from a ton of different sources from almost every country on the planet. Anybody who wants to produce it can. When we were at Battery Day, Elon didn't say lithium miners step up to the plate. He said nickel, We need
Yeah.
nickel.
Yeah.
That's the shortfall right now. And it's not just for the batteries, it's also for the stainless steel in the Cybertruck. If you want to make a couple million of those, you're going to need a little bit of nickel.
And so just to put a ribbon on it, just to, or a bow or something, I forget what the right thing to say is here, is this would not just apply to vehicles. I mean, ultimately 4680 chemistry, could be changed up depending on the line. You're going to be making a terawatt of it. So eventually we might see 4680s with a different chemistry going into storage batteries. We might see them going into into the power walls, all kinds of, certainly into the semi trucks, and all at $10 a kilowatt hour, unless the US government reneges, which I think they will eventually, because I think this is going to cost too much. But assuming that they don't renege anytime soon, we got years and years potentially of zero cost batteries.
Yes, and it's going to take other battery manufacturers stepping up, and battery factories take time to build. Right now, there are very few battery companies that are already producing in the US, Tesla being one of them in 2 or 3 locations, depending how you count it. Panasonic's got the giant facility in Nevada, right, and others are starting to build or at least plan them. But it could be 3 to 5 years before we see any serious volume out of anyone other than that little startup making go-karts in Fremont.
Yeah, that one. All right,
people
Brian,
wrote them off for so long. It was crazy. They just pretended like it wasn't coming. And we kept telling them, coming, it's already here, you ridiculous clowns.
So Brian,
opportunity.
I take it all back. I said that I went looking for an expert, and I guess maybe you qualify. On some level.
That's great. On some level. I appreciate that.
Follow Brian at My Tesla Weekend. Send him all kinds of money on Patreon. Watch his videos. They're fantastic. Don't even hesitate. Just make sure you do it. And then he is now going to join us as a Model Y driver. And it's only
That's the rumor.
Hopefully weeks. And you'll be among the privileged.
For those who don't know, I have never owned a Tesla. The only electric car I've ever owned was a 2008 Zen neighborhood electric vehicle. Very fun, quite a different vibe from a Tesla. And just on, what was that, Sunday, I released a video where you could actually watch me ordering a Model Y. Yeah, got my little hedgehog.
That's pretty darn exciting. That's all I got to say. All right, Brian. Yeah. We will
Thanks, Randy.
We'll be looking forward to Wednesday, and I'm sure we'll all be excited about something on Wednesday. To all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.